Welcome back to the farm, everyone. There's no sleeping in during corn harvest. It's check your engine oil, make sure you got plenty of fluids, and nothing's dangling off of the machine. Fire up and start harvesting. My wife did not directly state, yet she did indicate that I was starting to resemble a homeless man because I was ungroomed. These long harvest days really start to stack up when we don't get rains because we just keep running and running and running. There's not a lot of time to catch up on anything. Sleep, grooming, you name it, it just all piles up in the to-do list. It's a miracle some days that I even get a fresh pair of clothes on before I go to work. There's that pesky coyote that I tried to eliminate a week ago. We have to keep a close eye on him before he gets too close to our chicken flock. Corn harvest is just a grind, day after day. Picking corn, putting it in the truck, taking it to the bin. Sometimes the elevator. Windows need cleaned, cameras need cleaned. Add it to the list. Katie's taking over. Dad's headed to take his morning nap. I'm totally kidding, it was a joke. He's going to do something important, I have no idea what. Right in this area is where I did that inline ripper trial. When I get the data from this field, I'll sit down with the computer and talk about whether or not I saw any benefits ahead of corn to deep ripping the ground at 14 to 20 inches, depending on the spot. I hate to become skeptical and argue against things we've done for a long time. We've reduced a lot of our tillage down from what we did years ago. I am a firm believer in integrating corn stock material into the topsoil to break it down, to let that organic matter and nutrients flow back in. Otherwise, I'm not seeing any massive advantages to any kind of heavy tillage. I think it just makes you feel good because of the idea that you're helping your farm. Yet when you do the analysis side by side, a lot of times it doesn't pay. The things that consistently pay every year are good fertility, incredible drainage through tile and surface work, and of course genetics that have high yield potential. And of course rain. Rain always helps your yields go up when you need it. I got this field wrapped up. There's our final number on one of our best historical cornfields. DeKalb 6606, planted in mid-April, made 227 dry bushels an acre. That's pretty poor performance for this farm. Let's cover this really quickly. I've complicated this field by putting 3 separate trials in there. It kind of muddies the data a little bit. We'll look at the deep tillage passes first. With what I'm seeing, there's no discernible difference between where the inline ripper was ran last fall and where it wasn't when it comes to final yields. It might have been a bushel better. That's not close enough to be even a positive response. That could just be random error. So no return to deep tillage on this field this year. Next trial is pre-plant ATS, or ammonium thiosulfate. The idea was to put the ATS down as kind of a generalized starter. The nitrogen and the sulfur together would help the crop emerge better with more early season vigor and provide nutrients to bring yield up overall. Of course, the data comes out, no discernible difference. Absolutely none. 198 where it was, 198 bushels an acre where it wasn't. I guess I should highlight that this has not been post-calibrated, the yield data. 198 is what the combine thinks the field averaged. It was closer to 230, like 227, whatever I said in the video. The last trial I had in this field was rather extensive, a pass of Mirvis Neo around V6 or V7. It was by far the most significant impact across the whole field. It was a 5 bushel increase. If you selected spots fairly based on soil type, it was more like an 8 to 9 bushel increase. So there was something to be had with this product. The problem is with $4 corn, the cost of application between product and running your ground rig over the field, it's not economical. I didn't see any physical improvement in the crop from this early pass.
I think it's something to keep exploring. I just don't know that it's a grand slam.
Anecdotally speaking, I'm seeing a lot of our April planted corn around home falling 20 to 30 bushels an acre short of the mid-May planted stuff. That goes against the statistical averages that we based our decisions on. However, this year could be an outlier or just fall into that lower probability chance where with the weather trends, the dryness in June, the way the rains fell, the way the heat came in at certain important times during the corn's life cycle, that May corn had a better environment to yield more. This just happens to be one of those years where it doesn't work out the way you think it should based on how it has many years prior, but it is what it is. We can't control anything that the weather does. We are moving from this April planted DeKalb 6606 down here to some mid-May planted DeKalb 6289. A little bit more prone to water damage, yet later planted and a slightly better soil type. We'll see how they compare. There's a lot of harvesting action going on over this way. The Welches, who are next door neighbors to the west, are picking corn over here on the way to this farm, south of their main farm. They were a little slower to get to planting, and I think this year it probably benefited them with what we are seeing. That's pretty full. Check out this grain cart rig right here. Absolutely awesome. A Fendt 1050 maybe, I don't know the number, and then a J&M 1432 cart. That's a dual auger, so it's actually lower than ours because we have a single auger cart that relies on gravity. That has the cross auger underneath and allows them a lot better clearance. That combine they're running, I think, is probably a 96, 97, 98, 70, I really don't know. But the auger clearance when they made these combines was not nearly as high as today's combines. So that lower cart probably gives them a lot more room to unload on uneven terrain. Because I know that that cart has to be 2 foot shorter than ours. Holds more bushels because they can make a lot more use of that lower area because it doesn't have to be pitched for gravity clean out. I bet that cart and tractor are a great combination to run. It's obviously hypocritical of me to point this out given our equipment fleet, but if you do the math on the combine they're running, let's say it's a 9870, although their yearly equipment repair cost should be higher than ours because our machines are newer, their per acre depreciation cost from running that machine has to be so much lower than guys who run really new machines. I would say that the depreciation of a newer machine offsets the repair cost of the older machine. To be honest, the only thing the newer combines get you is more amenities and technology features. That combine they're running probably does the same amount as a new S-Series combine of a comparable size. It just doesn't have all the bells and whistles. I think if you really sat down and crunched the numbers and you didn't mind doing some repairs occasionally, the 70 series Deere combines are hard to beat. If there's one thing we've learned in the last 4 or 5 years, new equipment, especially combines, do not have a guarantee other than their warranty that they're going to be reliable. They're very prone to breakdowns, and some of those breakdowns can be very expensive. And that's not to mention that depreciation portion, because some of these new X-Series combines depreciated at 15% of their value in the first year for guys who traded them after 1 year, if not more, with how the market's readjusted. I think if you're really trying to maximize your dollars spent per productivity gained, you'd look at a nicely used 690 combine, maybe 1,500 to 2,000 engine hours on it. Yeah, you're gonna have to rebuild the inside occasionally. If you're equipped and knowledgeable enough to do that work yourself, you can save a lot of money in repairs and keep yourself busy in the off season. Versus this machine right here, which could probably buy you 3 used 690s and do less work than them. I don't know. There's a lot of trade-offs to be had just to gain a little bit of productivity and technology. I'm not sure if I ever really conversated with you all about this. Adding the X9 was not my decision. That was Dad who spearheaded that effort. I was certainly interested in demoing one out of curiosity, yet he was the one who was really gung-ho on making the switch on the combine, and I think it makes sense for running one big machine versus 2 smaller machines. It frees up manpower, allows more trucking capacity, but still is a big expense to pay. At the end of the day, when it comes to purchasing important equipment for your farm, it does not matter if you're spending $500 or $500,000. There is a lot of options and finances to evaluate as you make that purchase. When we added the big machine to our fleet this fall, there was certainly a lot of information that went into the process of finding the correct fit. The price of one individual piece of equipment can vary wildly depending on the make, the model, the usage, the features, the location, the dealership, you name it, and there's not a lot of great places on the market to be able to evaluate and trust the information you're receiving to know that you're getting a fair deal. That is until CloudStore comes into play. Go to cloudstore.co and you can actually see a lot of this useful information and look at what's going on in the market. It's an extremely easy platform to use. Make an account. I'm just going to use my Google account because I'm a lazy millennial. Blur that out so you guys don't know my personal information. Here's some perfect examples of the different cost of equipment, how hard it is to make a decision to fit your operation correctly. 1-year-old X9 1000, 540 engine hours on it, 695,000 big ones. You come down here to a much older machine, 9870, 4,150 hours on it, $85,000. Here's another X9 1000, 630 hours on it, $552,000. CloudStore has a really extensive lineup of equipment on here. Definitely neat to browse through. There's a 690, which I was talking about, 3,000 hours on it, only $100,000 for that machine. There's another 9870, 2,600 hours on it, only $67,000. Then you go to the next one, X9 1000, $750,000. That is $750,000 for a combine. Let's see what kind of options this machine is equipped with. Only 2-wheel drive, does have extended warranty for 5 years. That's worth quite a bit of money on its own. LSWs, Combine Advisor, Ultimate Technology, everything but the kitchen sink it looks like. That's probably why it's priced up there. And then you have this one that is $700,000 less. These are tough choices to evaluate. There's a lot of technology, there's a lot of features to go through to decide what's the best fit. You have to consider depreciation, and having a tool like the CloudStore marketplace at cloudstore.co definitely helps you kind of filter through the weeds, sort through the trash, and figure out what is going to be right for your operation, whether it be on combines, tractors, utility equipment, anything in the heavy equipment industry, they have listed here. Is anyone else guilty of doing some Christmas shopping a little bit beforehand? I was looking at their lineup of mini excavators on here. I'd really love to add one for fixing tile holes and adding new tile, maybe getting set up with a tile plow, and I think it would add a lot of functionality to our operation. They've got some nice John Deere models, Caterpillar, Kubota, Bobcat, you name it. They've got excavating tools as well. I like to get on these sites like CloudStore and just see the different variety of equipment, kind of see where the market is, and maybe pencil out or build a wish list of things that I'd love to invest in to help better our farm. There's absolutely zero doubt in my mind that it helps us as farmers to have quick and easy access to extensive list of equipment with different features to evaluate the market and make the correct decision, or at least what we think is the correct decision moving forward. It's simple to secure financing if that's the route you'd like to go. They've partnered with AgDirect, so it's pretty turnkey for getting the equipment financed for your operation. I really think that CloudStore has the potential to be one of the future marketplaces for online equipment sales. I'll remind you guys one last time, head over to cloudstore.co, check out their offerings, whether it be combines, tractors, excavators, pretty much everything you could imagine in the heavy equipment world, they have it. They have lawnmowers even. cloudstore.co, go see what they have to offer. Definitely a lot of equipment on here. It's worth looking through if you're interested. I was sitting here digesting my lunch, possibly about to fall asleep, and then I saw this fertilizer spreader next door going about road gear, and I almost had to change my pants. Had no idea it was in the field, and it just popped out in the corner of my eye, and I jumped a little bit out of the seat. Those guys fly through the field. The last 2 days of harvesting, we've been having an issue here on this row, which would be row 6 from the left, and the corn was kind of piling up in there. We thought it was an issue with the corn being down, it all just kind of conglomerating here and not feeding, but it's finally reached a tipping point because Katie was picking and it wasn't even pulling the corn through, it was leaving corn stalks above. We looked at the rows. The chains are all about the same level of tightness. It doesn't help that we have this huge combine on a 12-row head, so we're running the back shaft speed as high as it'll go. That's hard on things.
Chris said try this. That fits in there like that, doesn't it? Yeah.
He's adjusting the chains so they're closer together. He's moving them up a link or two. That way they feed more consecutively, and maybe that'll help push the material in. Getting out, so that may not have fixed the problem. And the combine's honking at them, you can tell because the lights are flashing. What an annoying feature. See that pile over there? That's actually on the other row, so it is a feeding issue. Someone's not paying any attention. No, don't slam on your brakes. This one's not on the grain cart guy, I've been here. Time. These combine operators need to look around every once in a while. I was driving right next to him.
I can do it. I can do it.
Lenny's here supervising today.
No. Oh, no.
Lenny, who's on your shirt?
Spider-Man.
You like Spider-Man?
Yeah.
What are you making?
I'm making a wish. Take a wish.
Oh, don't touch them together.
Why?
That's like the #1 rule of markers.
Why?
You don't touch the tips together. The first thing Lenny did when he got into the cab was kick his boots off, and then he told us that he brought the wrench to help fix things that we'd broken. Did we break a lot of stuff, Lenny?
Yeah.
Now what are you working on?
I'll fix you.
The more they're lit up, the colder it is.
You know why?
That's the most important part of the tractor, you know it? The refrigerator.
You go?
It keeps your water cold.
Like they could.
Yeah.
It's to #4.
It's to #4?
Yeah.
That's 4 inches.
Look. Look it up here.
Oh, it's to 5. That's 5 inches.
Then it's up here. We're working 2 bodies.
All right, we got to catch the combine again. Get in your seat. Look, there's Katie.
Hi, Katie.
She's over there in the combine. Can you count the numbers on there?
Yeah. 80, 40, 90, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5.
Good job.
And 18.
An 18 after that?
You look. Look at the number.
Oh, yeah, that is a big number. That's 140. That's a big number. 18 sounds better.
That is the big number. The other one make into 80, 40, 90, 80, 80.
Yeah,
In one.
that's exactly what I was thinking.
There were a lot of numbers.
There's a lot of numbers. While we're sitting here enjoying the comfort of the tractor cab and looking at the measuring stick, Dad's back at home with Chris, Jeff, and Nate moving away from one bin over to another. They're way off in the distance over there. You can kind of see our farm. There's a lot of crop harvested between here and there now that wasn't 2 weeks ago.
I did a long ago. Like that.
Yeah.
Like when the monsters get anybody. Like Rhino do on Spider-Man.
Oh, Rhino does that on Spider-Man?
Yeah. Welcome.
There's a lot of corn down around here, isn't there?
You're gonna get this. Oh no, it's broken.
It's broken half. Thank you. Those ears look good.
He's so huge. Yeah.
We don't normally leave them out in the field, but sometimes we do.
Look at that thing.
This is a drain, like a bathtub drain. So when it rains a lot, The water has somewhere to go quickly.
Why? I'm
Because
stuck.
this field's wet.
I'm stuck.
You're stuck in the weeds?
Yeah.
You're free.
I'm stuck again.
Oh, you're not free. Now you're free.
Oh, my toe stuck.
Don't put the corn in the drain.
Why?
Because you don't want to plug it.
Why plug it?
What do you see down there?
I think the dark.
The dark?
Yeah.
We gotta load the truck.
I'm stuck.
Bring those ears with. We'll put those in the trophy case.
Why? I want to take it home.
Perfect. Your mom would love some pretty ears of corn at home.
That's called a weather helicopter.
I think that's a big Black Hawk, Lenny.
Yeah.
He's pretty low, too.
He's the one we went to.
You think he's bringing us snacks?
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
He's a rescue nugger.
He's really low.
He's a rescue one.
Oh, you think that's a rescue helicopter?
Yeah.
Look how low he is.
Wow. He needs to go way up.
Holy cow.
He needs to go way
What in the world is he doing?
way up to the sky.
He must know that farmer over there. Wow.
He needs to go way
That
up.
thing was 100 foot off the ground.
He needs to go up to the clouds.
We finished up this field at DeKalb, 6289. Lenny's been busy in here shelling some corn the old-fashioned way. He's totally not making a mess in the cab. Dad's gonna head into the fuel tank, put in a little bit of fuel to pick for another day. He said that Sloan's supposedly is gonna have the 1000 model back in action with the new left rotor, the new threshing elements, the feed accelerator, whatever all they had to replace. Katie's gonna take Lenny back to his mother, and they're gonna hang out till I get to see him again later tonight. He was a good companion in the grain cart. We both enjoy snacks and music and shelling corn and making a mess, so we get along all right. Kids, gotta love them. Dad's snaking up there by the neighbors to go all the way back home to fuel up. That's a lot of depreciation just to go to the fuel barrel on a machine like that. Need to find a way to put a fuel tank on wheels to deliver it to the combine in the field. Here's the yield map for that farm. DeKalb 6289, planted the 15th or the 16th of May. The yield monitor on the combine is about 12% low, so maybe do some adjustments in your head as you look at this map. I'm seeing some pretty good yields up here in the higher ground. Once you get off into the low area through here, although it is phenomenal farm ground, I mean, some of probably the best farmland in the world, it is subject to an immense amount of water. This is probably one of our top 3 wettest farms. The other one maybe being the field across the road, and then the other one being the one that has 2 24-inch mains draining it. I believe what we're seeing out here is water damage, either some kind of root rot or decay from standing water in July, or nitrogen loss. Could be one of the two. Saturated soils are not good for roots staying alive, and they're also not good for maintaining nitrogen. You lose it quickly. This field, averaging 232 dry bushels an acre, planted mid-May, does actually confirm my suspicion that our April corn's just not going to compare as well to May stuff. This was in the ground 4 weeks later. Tremendous amount of water damage on this farm. It's way wetter than the other farm that is literally 2 miles away, if not a mile. And this performed better. Despite the struggles out here, we still had a bigger crop. So I think we just got caught on the bad side of luck this year, where April planted stuff didn't get the correct weather pattern to produce high yields. May stuff has a hard time out yielding April stuff in a fair year. I just don't know that this year was fair. That was a quick trip to the fuel tank. He's got a stop sign, but I'll just go ahead and let him go. The neighbor's wheat is up already. He just planted that 4 days ago, 5 days ago. I'm surprised there was enough moisture to get that out of the ground. We're back over here at this older bin site. We're gonna pick around here. The drive-over pit's supposed to be on the way. When we had smaller combines, I could just haul it back with the grain cart, but there's no way to keep the big machines moving if I drive in. You need 2 grain carts to make that work, and we don't have 2. This corn was planted right on that April into May border, probably early May. I don't know what side of the coin it's gonna end up on. It's not great farm ground, so we'll see. Be patient. It takes them about 5 minutes to find the field on the monitor. There he goes. Copy that. Dad's ready to quit. This farm's got some terraces, got trees around it. No reason to break anything after dark, and that's the most likely time to break something. I'll see you all tomorrow in part 2, unless Marty breaks something. I don't think he will. He's a good operator. Not an ounce of smoke comes out of these old girls anymore. It's just no fun. I would expect the same from this tractor. It's a nice light load to start the morning. This DeKalb 11135 is weighing like a box of bricks. There's room for more on that truck. About need a 16-row head on a field like this and really speed things up. The wider heads make a really big difference in productivity when you've got oddly shaped passes, a lot of point rows. In a big field, the 16 row is not going to really gain you a whole lot more. In choppy fields like this, it's a huge difference. Opening up the east half of this field. We've been harvesting on this east field for about 30 minutes, and I'd say the bin is almost full. This corn's really heavy, so we may fit 12 or 13,000 bushels in it. It's not a lot, but it's better than nothing. Can someone explain to me what the strange liquid on the window is? Not seen that before. We just finished up this field of mid-May planted DeKalb 11135. It's a phenomenal hybrid. This is a really marginal field. It averaged 227 dry. That's the same as that April planted DeKalb 6606. I would never in 1,000 years, not a single year, ever take this farm over that farm. The difference, I think, is planting date. Maybe hybrid had a little bit to do with it. This is very marginal ground. You can see where the trees and the deer probably stole some yield, and then we've got some clay knobs here. There's some terraces. Otherwise, yield was really good where there was not obstructions and competition. We're moving over to another marginal one here, see how it does. This is the field where we found Lucky the golden retriever when spraying earlier this spring. He's probably at home sniffing poop or something. Dogs are gross. But we do find the ability in our hearts to love them deeply. It's probably the same type of sentiment my wife would say about me. Katie and I started opening up that next field. Chris, Jeff, and Dad moved to the north bin here. We should have all 3 of these full by the end of the day, depending on how this goes. I just watched Dad, the man who's had 2 separate shoulder surgeries, carry the lid to the bin over there that he dropped off accidentally up the ladder while holding onto the ladder with one arm. That's pretty impressive work. He's pretty persistent, to put it simply. Hopefully those shoulders last him a lifetime. This next field's still DeKalb 11135. Yield should be about the same, maybe slightly lower. And some of you are convinced that all of our ground is flat. A lot of it is, but there's some that's not, like this field. Looks like someone to the east may actually be catching a nice shower. We've got the front part of this bridge, just have to cross a little culvert with dirt over it to get to the backside. It's gonna be a little tight, I think. That really looked like it was gonna be sketchier than it was. You can't fall in if you don't slow down. Just hammer right through it. I think that's what Katie did. Another one done. We shuffled 1 mile to the west. A little bit better of a field. Same hybrid. The last field made 228 dry, which is good for that field for this year. It's amazing that these lower productivity farms are out yielding some of our best stuff around the home farm because it was planted in May and not April. You just missed the rainbow. There's some scattered little pockets of rain coming around. Hey, there's that rainbow again.
Rainbow in front of us, Andy.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. I'd say the wind's picking up, actually. Look at that, blow straight out of the combine and then to the south. Poor neighbors got their grain trucks directly to the south of us as well. Hopefully their windows are up. Here's a treat. Lenny 2 days in a row in the tractor, and he brought cookies. What's that on your shirt, buddy?
A bye-bye bat. I'm not bye-bye wearing the camera on the deal.
Yeah, did you see a fire truck?
No.
Oh, no.
He was cool.
Oh.
He was walking.
Oh. What do you have to do with your smoke detectors?
You just take them out.
You change the batteries?
Yep.
That's smart.
And you put them out.
Oh, you test them?
Beep, 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 beep. With that noise.
Just mowing down some corn this afternoon with the help of Lenny. John Deere service, ladies and gentlemen. Someone's getting rain. Wow. Been all sorts of rainbows this afternoon too. I swear, those Welches have all the luck. The rainbow's right in their backyard today. The rain slid by just to the east of us. Had a few rainbows pop up here and there. And we've got an absolutely gorgeous night out here. This is exactly what fall looks like. We're picking corn here, neighbors picking some corn south of us. A lot coming out of the fields, and honestly, there's not a whole lot left to go for a lot of people. It's been another pretty uneventful evening. No breakdowns, no hassles, just picking corn. It's the way we like it. He's also been farming this field for 3 or 4 decades now. I think he knows where the bounces are, unless there's new tile holes, because they do appear in a short amount of time. It looks like we're going to get one brief little glimmer of an X9 corn combining experience. Dad's going to go supervise the topping off of that bin. Katie's gone home for the day because we didn't really need her this late. She go home and be with her kids. There's no reason to stick around. I'm going to pick around by myself with this machine, hopefully not break anything. Talk about not leaving much juice in the tank there, boss. Let's do it. I better turn off that music before I get a copyright strike on my video. I won't even be able to feed my children if that happens. Okay, I'm ready to go back to the grain cart. This is enough supervising. I prefer to not have to pay attention. 240 bushel corn, a 12-row corn head on an X9 1100 just doesn't work. There's too much material coming through each row. It's getting kind of fluffed up in here, and I'm not even running out of power yet. Keeping the machine full here at 7.5 miles an hour. Don't even have that much loss out the back. That's 27 acres an hour, and it's just too fast to be picking corn. If you want this big of a combine, I don't know. Unless you're in 300 bushel corn, it's probably time to get a 16 row. This speed is actually making me nervous. You can't keep track of everything at 7.5 miles an hour. This combine definitely has enough extra power in the tank to have a chopping corn head. It wouldn't really limit your power that much. The choppers on a corn head, if you have that system, Stockmaster is what Deere calls their model. Definitely adds some consumption of power. I don't know the exact amount, but some people say they're pretty inefficient. Helps with stock decomposition. It's like having a lawnmower under your head. I picked one round in probably 3 minutes, and then it said my grain tank was almost full. I'm sure there's still a little bit of room left in there. That's just insane though. I've not sat in this while it's unloading corn. It does not look or feel that fast when you're in the grain cart. It looks like a regular combine unloading auger. When you're in the operator seat unloading, you can tell that this thing is pumping out the bushels. It's like a fire hose.
Yeah, I don't know that I really enjoy combining at night. This is kind of a lot to keep track of. And I don't have a large enough checkbook to make up for any kind of damage I may cause to this machine. That's the funny thing about operating things. It doesn't matter how qualified you are, you can still cause a significant amount of damage to them.
This thing's hardly even breaking a sweat. It's not even above a quarter on the temperature gauge. It is also like 45 degrees out. That definitely helps. Back in my comfort zone, temporarily. Loading this truck and then going to the bin. Getting everything disassembled and moved home. Everything's full over west. Well, the last of the grain bin loading setup heads back home. I stopped by to look at the combine grain cart, lock them up, shut the batteries off. I'm gonna pull the plug on tonight's adventures. It's nice and chilly. There's a chance of a frost overnight, which would be wonderful because we have a couple of fields of those early harvested soybeans where we've got a few soybeans that got nice rain on them that didn't make it into the grain tank or into the trucks. They stayed out in the field and they look kind of like a cover crop. So a frost would do us some good visually. A lot of guys that harvested earlier deal with that. You just don't notice it on the later stuff because you don't get the rains or the growing conditions to germinate those beans. You're always going to leave something behind. That's going to be it though. Appreciate you all tuning in. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace!